in. First, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today. My name is Andrea Boyle, and I'm the Product Marketing Manager at CentralReach. Today, our team is going to be sharing with you more about the enhancements we've been working on to improve your overall experience and workflows with CentralReach. You'll pick up on some new things coming and maybe a few things you might have missed. But before we jump in, I'm going to go over a few housekeeping rules. Throughout the webinar, we encourage active engagement from our attendees. If you have a question during the session, feel free to use that Q&A button in the bottom. We want you to get the most out of the session, and our moderators are standing by to answer as many questions as they can. This session is going to be recorded, and it'll be sent out to all of our registrants in about 2 to 3 days. With that being said, I'd like to go ahead and take a minute to introduce your host and moderator for the day. Today, we have our very own VP of Product Management, Shams Jiwani, as your host today. And also we are joined by our Customer Success Lead, Amber Ledesma, who is here to answer any questions you might have during the session. Shams and Amber, thank you for joining us today. And we're so excited to learn more about what's coming down the pipe for CentralReach.
Thanks, Andrea, and welcome everybody. Today is going to be a very exciting webinar. We have a lot of content that we want to share with you about features that are coming up in our December release. So we'll start off with our feature spotlight. We'll talk about a specific feature that's already live recently. We'll talk about what's coming new in our October release, and then also a sneak peek of what's coming up in our December release. And throughout the session, and even at the end of the session, we'll allocate some time for some Q&A. Diving into the feature spotlight, one of the new features that was released recently are the client portal settings. We have many organizations that use the client portal, and the client portal allows the clients and their family members to have access to information such as invoices, such as files, and even other things such as scheduling. And until now, when you rolled out Client Portal, all of the availability of features were there. And now the organizations will have the ability to decide on which modules can be enabled or disabled when the clients log in. So for example, your organization may only want to provide access to the billing and the files module or files information to the clients. So now you can go and set that up through the admin account based on the instructions that are provided here and in the image that you see to enable or disable specific modules that you want them to have access to move forward. I will now dive into our October release. A couple of dates as a reminder. First, our beta prod is going to start on Friday, September 29th. And then our go live for our October 9.10 release will be on Friday, October 20th. There will be 3 weeks of beta prod testing. If you are interested in beta prod testing and getting early access to some of these features and functionalities, please reach out to your customer success lead directly afterwards, and we'll make sure to provide you access starting September 29th, which will give you early access to be able to look at these features and functionalities within your application. This release has lots of different features, starting from employee unsigned document widget to change healthcare insurance verification, Waystar readable ERA, service code session notes and forms requirements, selecting existing session notes, some authorization filters, Insights homepage and API dashboards, CR mobile, and also additional features towards the end. Let's start with the employee unsigned document widget. In the last release, we created a document widget which was available on the client portal, which would allow any organizations that want the clients to sign a specific document to be able to do that with ease. We have now created this employee unsigned document widget, which will have all of the documents that are not signed by a specific employee. That widget will show up on the home screen, as you see here. And this will show all the documents that are not signed. The user can click on this specific document. The document will pull up. They can review the document and then sign it, and it will disappear from the widget, which will inform that this has now been signed. Our next feature is Change Healthcare Insurance Verification. CentralReach Enterprise supports 3 different clearinghouse vendors, Change Healthcare, Waystar, and Office Ally. And we wanted to have the ability for organizations that are using Change Healthcare to be able to do verification of insurance directly through CentralReach. This can be done on an individual person-by-person level, or you can do a bulk eligibility verification. So what you see here on the screen is one specific client, John Smith. When you go to their profile and click on pairs, on the pair screen, there will be now an icon called verify eligibility, and you will only see the one that's set up. So we'll say change healthcare. When you click on it, you are able to now send a request to change healthcare to verify eligibility for John Smith for that specific pair, and then receive a response back, which will be available directly within the CR. In addition, to do verification in bulk, so when you want to send numerous clients information for verification, you would go to the contact screen to the clients, and then in the grid, you would select each client individually, and on top, right next to labels, there's going to be an icon which will say verify eligibility. And that will send a request for all of the clients that you've selected to change healthcare for verification. For organizations that are using Waystar as a clearinghouse, when a ERA comes back, we now have the ability to not only take the ERA that's processed by the system, as it happens now, you will also have the ability to review and download a human readable ERA. Typically, there are 2 different files that are sent. One is more computer readable file, and the other one is more human readable file. So moving forward, when this release goes live, all ERAs that are received after the release, you will now see within the ERA list screen or the billing screen, be able to find that specific readable file, and then be able to access that file directly through CentralReach. I'll pause here, see if there are any questions.
Yep, we have a question. Is the unsigned document widget just for employees, or is it for clients too?
For the clients, the client portal is where they would be signing it. So that will be available on the client portal. The employees the widget will be available for employees, where they can see what needs to be signed for the employees through the dashboard when they log in.
Thank you. And will readable ERAs be visible for existing ERAs or only brand new ones?
The Waystar readable ERAs will only be accessible after we go live, and all ERAs that come after the go live date in October.
Thank you very much. That's all the questions we have right now.
Diving into the next feature, this is one of the commonly requested features that we've received, which is there are some codes which may require potentially multiple documents that may need to be filled out. And you may only need to fill out one of them, and you don't want to make all of them required, or you don't want to make them all optional. So a good example is, let's say you have a specific payer that has more stringent rules, like TRICARE. In that situation, you can now utilize this new feature, which is called required, at least one required or optional. And so when you go to the service code, there's going to be a new tab, which is going to be available. It's going to consolidate the session notes and notes and forms tab into one tab. And within that tab, when you search for a specific note, it will now allow you to decide, this is note now required, or at least one of the notes within this group is required, or is this note optional? There are also examples of some codes, such as H codes, and sometimes they're really hard to know what they're used for. So there's an H code, for example, that's multi-purpose. That could be a supervision code, or it could also be used for parent training. This is also other ways that organizations can utilize this to provide more flexibility while still keeping the specific requirements to make sure at least something is filled out based on the organizational rules and processes. The next feature is selecting existing session notes. So as many of you are aware, we have notes and forms, and we also have session notes. For organizations that are using session notes, we now have the ability within the timesheet to be able to select existing session note. So previously the drop down for creating new was a full drop down on the page. Now what you will see is on the right-hand side of it, there's going to be a drop down, which will be to select the existing session note. There's few enhancements here as well, where you can now see the date created for that session note that you're selecting, which will allow you to easily decide if there's few with similar names as well. Diving into the authorization filters, we have many organizations that fill out a lot of the information on the authorization page. And this includes information such as the billing provider, the supplier, the ordering, the referring, the facility, and the supervising providers. And while this information is populated on the authorization, we want to make sure now this is searchable by a specific name on the authorization screen. So when you go to the billing module and the authorization screen, on the bar up top, you can now put in the name of the provider, and you will see different options of how to be able to search that specific provider. Pause here, see if there are any questions.
Yes. Can you put both mobile notes and browser notes in the at least one required section?
Yes, you can mix and match both of them.
Great. I think people are excited about that. Can anyone select existing note, or is that permission based?
Good question. I'll have to go back and follow up on that one.
Actually, I know the answer to that one. That is permission based. So we have one permission that allows you to select existing note of the note and form templates. And we have a new permission coming that would allow you to select existing note for the mobile note templates. Let's see. Will the filter be able to exclude on the authorizations or just include?
Currently, it's designed for include.
Thank you. Here, good questions coming in, guys. Thank you. Shams, do you know what the eligibility response looks like from Change Healthcare?
Yeah, I will have to provide a screenshot back. It varies based on the response that comes back from the payer to Change Healthcare. So different payers have different types of responses that come back, and the text varies significantly. So I highly recommend, if you do have Change Healthcare, to set it up and then test out the functionality and make sure that you're getting the response back. It should be very similar to what the response would be if you logged into the Change Healthcare portal and we're doing the eligibility verification there.
Great. One more. I don't have permission to edit the authorization to see who's listed as provider supplier. Can I still use the new search feature?
Yes, the authorization permission is different than the billing module authorization. If you have access to this page, billing module authorization, then you would be able to search.
Thank you very much.
Great questions. I'm going to dive into the next slide, which is Insights homepage. So for organizations that have the standard dashboards and the organizations that have ABI, now there's going to be clear visibility. So there's going to be a tab for standard dashboards, and there's going to be a tab for advanced BI dashboards. And then for advanced BI, or the module, people who have access to the advanced BI module will also see the settings tab. And what you will see is a really new layout, which will make it intuitive and simple to see all the different reports that you have access to. And for ones that have advanced BI, there's also going to be more information that's available, such as the description, what question does this dashboard answer, and access to the help articles. This will continue. This is one of the areas we want to continue to enhance to make sure that we provide more information to the customers as far as the dashboards and the insights moving forward. Next, for ABI, we also now have a new dashboard called the No Payer Payment Dashboard. The way I like to think about this is, where is your money after a claim was submitted? So the way an organization can utilize this is to be able to look at all the denials that come in on a line level, whether that's a payer responsibility or a payment liability from a patient. You can also look at payers and denial codes and trends. So for example, you can look to see for Blue Cross Blue Shield, are you getting a specific type of adjustment code all the time? Or another way to utilize this is on a patient side, has a maximum benefit been reached for a specific patient, and then what specific work that needs to happen. So this will allow the organization to manage across all the payers, across all the ERAs, all the different activity that's come back in a consolidated manner, to be able to see the analysis of what the liability is, where it needs to be collected, whether it's a denial from payer that requires action or patient liability that needs to be managed. In addition, we were able to also have some features that were small and noteworthy requests that our customers have asked for. One of them is the license and certification expiration date. Currently, the expiration date is a month and a year, and moving forward, it's going to be a date field. So you will be able to select a specific month, date, and a year. For any expirations that were previously there, the default will be the first date of the month. So if it said December of 2024, it will default to December 1, 2024. On the client, on the authorization screen, so on the billing module authorization screen, we're now going to be displaying the client full name. Currently, it shows first initial, period, last name, and it's going to, starting this release, it's going to have the client full name. The preferred names will also now be available to be entered through the contact forms. This will be available both to the client and the employee contact form. The task template screen will be enhanced. So you will now be able to search your task templates more easily and be able to manage them more easily through the enhanced screen. And lastly, we have started doing some initial integrations with ABLES and AFOLS assessments, which are part of our CR assessments, and be able to connect access from CR Enterprise to the assessment application. I'd like to pause here, see if there are any questions.
Yep. Okay. For all certifications that already exist in our system, what will the new date field say?
So the date field would say the first of the month. So for example, if it said December as the month and 2024 as the year, it will say December 1, 2024 as the expiration date.
Thank you. On preferred name, will that affect an insurance claim if the name is preferred, or is that only an internal thing?
Preferred name is an internal only. it's not sent to claims downstream. Legal name is typically what's sent downstream. This would allow you to have preferred name in the system for clients or employees that typically go by a different name.
Great. And can you repeat what exactly will be enhanced about the task template screen?
So currently the task template screen, it has a lot of the information on what the templates are. And now there's going to be a searchable capability. So you can easily search by the name of a template. You'll be able to see some specific fields such as creation date, etc. So the screen itself will be redefined to easily search and manage the task templates.
Do you have the ability to search by preferred name?
Currently, that is something that's still in our roadmap.
Great. Thank you very much.
I'll now dive into CR Mobile. And this is our biggest release yet for CR Mobile. CentralReach as an organization has invested heavily on CR Mobile for a few reasons. One, we want to make it easy for RBTs to manage their workflow. There are a lot of things that are being managed by the organization, and we want to have an intuitive application which can be used end-to-end to still have all the functionalities that are available through CR Enterprise that are applicable to RBTs and be able to have that in a seamless experience. So what I'll highlight today are 3 big enhancements that are happening. And we're also going to have a webinar coming up in the near future to go through the details of all of the features and functionalities that are being updated, and also do a live Q&A and demo as well. The first feature is the place of service and modifiers. So when you start an appointment, so when you swipe here and start the appointment, it's going to pull up the screen and it will ask you to verify or confirm the place of service. This will automatically populate from the schedule if it is there, or there will be a drop down which will have the list of accepted places of service that the org is set up, and then they can confirm or input the place of service. When they end the appointment, when they come to the appointment summary screen, you will see the place of service here. And we will also have the ability to choose a modifier. If a modifier is specific to that place of service, the dropdown will only provide the modifiers that have that place of service. So for example, if you have a specific modifier that has home, then that will be part of the dropdown here. And if there's only one, it will also pre-select it for you for ease. So that is going to be one of the big new features that is going to be coming up later in October on the CR Mobile. Next, we're also going to have enhancements to session and appointment timers. When you start a session, so as you saw when I click swipe on the last page, and when you are in the specific session details, you're going to see up top what the duration of that session is. So it will say it's an appointment from 2 to 5, which is a 3-hour session, and it's also going to have a countdown clock. So right away, it's going to tell you how many hours and minutes to go for the session. When it gets closer to the end of the session, you will see a change in color. So it will say 10 minutes to go as it's getting closer. And then when it's over, it will turn to red and inform that you are now over your session time as a way to provide you that information right away. In addition, any of the data sheets that are captured, they're no longer going to be specific start times and end times to that, and they will match directly with the session timers itself. This will make it easy and simpler for the RBT to only manage one timer, which is the appointment start time and end time based on the actual swipes, and then that will be used downstream for the session timers as well. Lastly, there are numerous number of enhancements that are happening on the data collection page. We recognize there's a lot that happens as part of data collection, so we wanted to make it as seamless as possible while still keeping all the functionality that's absolutely critical for them to be able to manage it. I'll go through a few of them today. First one is the targets. So it's going to be easily scrollable, so you can just scroll up and down like you would with the touch screen. When you click on one of the cards, you're going to be able to see the information that's useful. So this is the name, what type of a data target it is, what phase it's in. If there's any comments that are there, be able to provide that comments. If you want to see the previous trial information, you can expand and see previous trial information. The minimum and the maximum is going to be available right there. If the data has been collected and the minimum has not been met, you will see an icon visibly to show you that the minimum has not been met. If there's no minimum, or if there's no maximum, or the minimum's been met, you're also going to see an icon to let you know that data has been collected there. You'll be able to also easily see if there's a resource page, what that would look like, and then be able to also get some good visualization of what's the correct answer, what would be the incorrect answer, along with still having access to pinned view on the bottom. So on the bottom, you will see that you can expand or collapse this pinned view. You can swipe left or right to see the different pinned. You can easily capture data. You can also capture the ABC data collection directly from the pinned view. So this is a very quick summary of lots of different things that are drastically changing to just make life easier for RBTs to be easily manage their day-to-day operations and be able to collect data through the CR mobile application. I'll pause here, see if there are any questions from the team.
Yes. Is the min and max for trial count for all types of targets or just one specific type?
For all the ones that do have min and max configured, that information will show up for all of those data types.
Let's see. On mobile, can we still sync data collection timers to start with the session timer?
So different, I want to make sure I understand the question. So this session time, this appointment timer is what is going to be used for session timers. So both of those will be synced moving forward. So anytime you start an appointment, that's what that will show up as a session timer and the appointment timers together.
And that will apply to data collection timers, for example, duration or rate timers within data collection, Shams?
That is correct.
Great. Are there training materials I can share with my BTs for these new CR mobile items?
Great question. We are in the process of making sure we can create the training materials. They are in development now, and they're going to be available to you prior to the release.
Great. Question, do you have to have an appointment to collect data on CR Mobile?
Yes, you would need an appointment for organizations that have both practice management and clinical. An appointment is required to be able to capture data. For organizations that are only using clinical, I'm happy to connect with them offline and walk through the process.
All right. Thank you very much, Shams.
So this was just a sneak peek on CR Mobile. We are going to have a 45-minute session coming up on October 4th that's going to be dedicated just to talk about CR Mobile and all the functionalities that are available now and all the new functionalities that are coming. So there will be a registration link that's going to be sent out in the next few days when you do receive the replay. So be sure to register and learn more about what's available as part of CR Mobile. Next, I'll share a sneak peek of what we are in the process of planning for our December release. Few features that I want to highlight. The first one is the connect disconnect process. So currently we have a process right now for connecting with clients and connecting with employees. And that feature and functionality is going to change to make it more intuitive and more functional to make sure that it's reliable going forward. So we've spent significant effort from a product perspective to ensure that we have high reliability around this because it's such a critical feature for how the application is used downstream. So for the December release, we're going to have a first group of our customers. So we're going to break it into two groups, and group one customers will be accessing this feature starting our December release. The next feature is the saved signature feature. This has also been a very highly requested feature where there are hundreds, if not thousands, and potentially many more signatures that are collected on a daily basis by different organizations. And we want to make sure that we have the ability to save a signature and then be able to apply that signature to specific areas. So in part one, which is going to come out in December, the organization will have the ability to configure using Safe Signature. They'll have the employees will have the ability to create a safe signature, and part one will have the ability to apply to the timesheets. And then in future releases, we're going to have the ability to apply it to notes and forms and session notes as well. The partial pay invoice feature, this is going to be available through the client portal. Right now, when a client needs to pay an invoice, the option is to be able to pay in full. Now the organization's going to have the ability to set a minimum and the client to be able to pay partial of the invoice over and then pay more and more over time. We're also going to have the option to recover canceled appointments. So if a client cancels an appointment and then says, oh, wait a minute, I can now come for that appointment, we want to be able to recover that canceled appointment and put it back on the schedule. There's going to be some enhancements to the ABC data collection on CR Mobile to make it even more simpler and more intuitive to be able to collect ABC data. And there are more enhancements that are coming on the advanced business intelligence with the update on the authorization utilization dashboard, and then be able to apply and utilize labels across different cubes. With that, I'd like to open the floor up for Q&A.
All right, we have somebody very excited about the cancel appointments feature. And a related question, after recovering a canceled appointment, could you cancel it again to effectively change the cancellation reason?
That is correct. So you can recover it and then you can cancel it. There will be some specific requirements around cancellation. So for example, you can only recover appointments that are in the future and not appointments that happened in the past.
Great. And a follow-up, can we recover deleted appointments or just canceled?
The current iteration is going to focus on the cancellation piece.
Thank you very much. I missed what you said about partial payments. Can we enable or disable this feature for families?
We have set it up so it enables it for all, because this has been the most commonly requested feature. You do have the ability to set a minimum. So if you want to change the minimum, we will have the ability for you to set the minimum and ask in bulk.
And can you repeat what you said? What's part one of saved signatures?
Saved signatures part one will include the organization to enable this feature for the employees to be able to create their safe signature, and then the ability to apply the safe signature to timesheets. The future iteration will include the ability to apply it to notes and forms and session notes.
Do we have to set a minimum on partial payments, or could we allow the clients to choose their payment without a minimum?
From a financial safekeeping perspective, we want to have the ability to set a minimum, and that minimum is a relatively low number. So if I recall, it's either $20 or $25, and that's a system default, and the organization has the ability to change it. The reason for keeping that is to make sure that there is at least an amount that is a minimum that you would feel comfortable with, knowing that there could be credit card transaction fees, while at the same time making sure that the payment is received over time, that is going to pay the invoice in full.
All right, thank you very much.
Great. Well, I'm really excited about what's coming in October and looking forward to working with organizations on implementing CR Mobile and a lot of these features. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Andrea for CR Unite.
Thank you, Shams and Amber. This information was wonderful, and I can tell based on the questions and the feedback our attendees are leaving in the chat, everybody is really excited to see what's coming down the road for CentralReach and the sneak peek. This is awesome. With that being said, if you haven't heard about CR Unite, I wanted to share some information with you. CR Unite is a 3-day event in October in New Orleans this year. It's plenty of time to network, get some continuing education, relax, have fun, and connect with colleagues and peers. You can check out our agenda by scanning that QR code. At CR Unite, you hear from all of CR's finest firms about scheduling, billing, practice management, parent training, assessment solutions, and so much more. Shams will be there. He'll have his own event that he will be hosting as well. Please scan the QR code and learn more about CR Unite. And then, I'm sorry, Shams?
Thanks. And just to add, I highly encourage opportunity if you're able to join. This is a great way for us to learn from you and also share time with you to share what we're building and how we can collaborate on what we're going to be building next.
Thank you, Shams. And just as a reminder for everybody, CentralReach offers a suite of enterprise solutions for practices like yours. Not only do we have our PM and clinical solution and our mobile solution, which you learned a lot about today, we have other solutions that help you manage multiple facets of your organizations, allowing you to focus on growing your services and improving your level of care that you can provide. And with that, we are going to close out today's session, and we're going to say thank you very much for joining us. And there's going to be a really quick survey at the very end. When you close out the session, it's just 1 minute. If you can answer the questions in that survey, it really helps us determine how to best handle these sessions in the future. And as a reminder, again, you will be getting this recording in 2 to 3 business days. And thank you all for joining us, and have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thanks, everyone.